can't wait for someone to save you. You gotta save yourself. Like, if you keep waiting for, even though I did tell him to go get a mentor, like, you keep waiting for that mentor to save you, it's not gonna work out. You know, you gotta do it yourself. Like, nobody.
What up, ladies and gentlemen, slimes and dimes, my couch gang, my hip hop crimies and crimettes. Welcome back to the couch. It's your man BITO back with another, not a reaction, but with this first episode of a podcast here. This is the BCPP, you know what I'm saying? BITO'S conversation. Man, we messing that up real early there, huh? That's crazy. But basically, you know, it's the Couch Potato Podcast. You know what I'm saying? That's just what it is right now. It's the Couch Potato Podcast. You know what I mean? We sent it earlier. We rolling it out. This is the, what do you call it? The pilot right now. It's the pilot of the shit. And as always, you know, I bring my man T here, dog. And we're bringing him here to talk about what he's got going on for the youth and how he's providing, you know, just an extra outlet in sports and just being a mentor for these children out here. You know, for these children. And this is my man T. You recognize him from my past reactions over the summer when I first started the channel. We had, I believe, you know, some Slim Shady reactions. I put them on the Easy Mail. And, you know, we go deeper than that too. You know, we go a little deeper than, you know, reactions and podcasts. Like, I think I've known you for about 20 years now. It feels like at this point. Like,
Number on him.
You gotta put the football number on. You know, gotta do that. Gotta do the football number. So, you know, I think I've known Tariq since like 2005-ish or whatever. Like, we've been in high school together. We played on, you know, a lot of basketball teams together from high school on. Like, we've just grown to just really know each other really well at this point. You know, it's kind of funny. Yeah, been through a lot in life, man. You know, and it's like one of those, we were 2 years apart, but we've always just had a lot in common, which was the sports and the music. You know what I'm saying? And you can't put an age on that. Maturity, it's just maturity. This is one of the homies that actually matured. You know what I'm saying? I don't really do the younger gen and the young cats. Y'all know I be on the channel talking about that, but I don't consider him a young gen, new gen type of cat. He's just younger than me by 2 years, and like, that's all that matters. But some people in his age brackets be wild and stuff, so I'm not gonna lie.
You need positive energy on the pod.
Yeah, you know, you need positive energy on the pod. Positive spaces and everything. And speaking of positive spaces, my man does positive things for the youth. Now, you know, his program is called see, I'm bad at this already. Like, I listen.
It's really news. I ain't mad at you.
Here we go. I got it going right now. You know, we've got the Instagram. You know, it's inspire one, focus, and effort. You know what I mean? So as I say that, and I tell the people out here, you know, exactly what that means and what the motto is and everything. Just explain that a little bit.
So now, for me, Inspire One was just built off the thought process of like me inspiring just one person. Cause that's where it started off. Mm-hmm. One person trusted me to help them with their development. Then that went off to learn how to help more people. And then, like, so, yeah, not to get all dark about it, but if my mission ended today, at least I know I kind of imparted some wisdom on folks that they can inspire folks, you know, just like I did. Right. Just one of them. So it's like, to inspire one person to go off and keep the message alive. So that's where Inspire One came from. And then focus and effort, you know, I just was thinking about different things that I want the whole company built on. And focus and effort, to me, are all things that you can control. You know, you control what you focus on, what you put your time into, you control how much effort you put into those things also. But other than that, like, yeah, there's other things too, but other than that, there's really not much within our control. You just gotta keep locking in and keep doing what you're doing and stay passionate about it, consistency. But again, focus and effort just are the two key things that, like, you know, capture all of that. So that's where I came from.
And I like that you put that in perspective like that, because once again, I think sports, and also, you know, as you know, I do music over here too, and I just like to, you know, react to music. I think those always intertwine with each other. And it's just interesting to hear you say that, like, you know, it's the focus piece, because once again, I feel like people need to, like, put that focus together when they need to just, you know, be inspired. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to this, you know, getting out of a dark space, getting into a positive space, being around positive energy. So did you find that within just being, because once again, I mentioned that we did sports, so playing sports, did you find something to do within sports where you found that, or was it just post-sports? Like, what made you come up with the idea?
Nah, be real, like, so many things, but some of them you don't got time enough. You know, depending on the shit. But let me be real, like, honest, well, so during quarantine, I started studying, like, trying to build on my training craft. And I was like, I have to find a different way to help the people that I work with. So it's like, you know, yeah, I was, of course, working on different drills, studying different workouts. I was like, yo, let me start learning more about sports psychology. Just, you know, see what that's about. So while learning about that to help other people, I started learning about myself. Like, and this is probably first breaking news right now. But for every game that we played, I was so nervous. Every game.
Just coming from a coach's standpoint.
No, I'm just coming from me looking at myself in the lens of a coach, and then just me remembering.
Gotcha.
Every game that we played, like I used to just get very anxious. So what I studied is and learned is I had performance anxiety. They never really put a name to that.
Right.
It's either you choking, man up, you saw. It's like
you gotta dig deep within it to be a man.
Yeah, like and like
there's no medical terms to it.
No, it's like whereas like I was the only one thirst before during the game. Like then once I got a rebound, once I blocked the shot, once like the game started rolling, it went away. But like so learning more about that and learning that there's names for these things and that there's also people now more than ever dealing with those type of things.
More open about it.
Yeah, like I was like, I want to help. I want to help. At least give y'all a voice. And then not to get too deep about it, but there's also no one that looks like us comfortably talking about.
That's a fact. That's
our
fact.
culture.
Yes.
That makes it okay to talk about these things. So it's like, all right, let me be that person. You know what I mean?
Word.
So,
And with all that, do you connect more with? Because once again, we went to school together. So tying this in, like we went to school in the ECHO program, we were public school, so we went to school in the suburbs. But we obviously went to school with people that didn't look very much like us. But we got the experience, we got the resources, and everything. Now, do you feel like do you branch into this inner city? Is what you're doing is more in the inner city, or are you touching more on like a larger scale than the city, like more regional? Are you more than regional? Are you trying to expand it past regional?
Yeah,
and
I'll be
out of the
real with
city?
you, bro. Like, I wouldn't change our path for nothing. Like, granted, and I'm just gonna give some context. Granted, like I said, I went to right after high school. I went to HBCU, San State. Loved it, just because I just felt more comfortable in the classroom and just being there. But like, I would not change being in the not in the most diverse situation all throughout grade school for nothing, because it taught, and I feel like it gave us a gift to be able to talk to whoever, and relate to whoever, So I say all that to say it's like, yeah, I do think that played a huge part in like my goal right now, because like to me it really don't matter what your background is, like where you come from, like everybody may be God in some of the things that I'm trying to we're talking about playing sports, you can see your ability being in your own head. So yeah, my goal is to help the inner city figure this out, because there's not enough people that are trying to do that. Everybody's yelling at each other, and yeah, that's a whole other conversation. But like, yeah, I want to help that first, but even like to this day, there are people that aren't from the inner city that I'm working with that are like brothers to me or family to me. That it doesn't really. It's not just like one group of people I'm trying to help you feel. Because at the end of the day, in order for us to really figure this out, we have to do it together. Like, again, everyone that's like-minded and with a good cause, I feel like they can. That's maybe going a little bit further for the audience.
No, you're good. You're good.
Yeah,
this is your time to shine. This is called the Neighborhood Spotlight, where we inspire one to talk about one here, and once again we doing it live and everything too. So I think we got Bob. My man Bob is in here, man. Shout out Bob's reaction, dog. Thank you for letting me know about the volume. See, once again, these volume checks be crazy, so I had the music going. I think
it's too loud.
I think the music was a little bit too loud, so they're saying they can't hear or whatever. So I hope that we can bring that back a little bit.
Yeah.
A little, and we can be good with that. But once again, it's the first rollout, the pilot episodes of this whole thing real quick. You know what it is? I got this all the way up. That's what that is. I got that all the way up. See, I get excited with that. I get excited.
I was going to say that. My mic's good.
No, I think we good. We good with the mic situation. I think it was just more or less that. But once again, now the focus piece of everything. Now, when you say focus and everything, how do you get people to focus? Like you said, performance anxiety for yourself. Now, there was people that relate to that probably when you deal with them. So how do you coach them through a situation like that? I mean, I think we all had that. Like even when I get on this mic,
You know, there's sometimes I have performance anxiety, so to say, because I get nervous about what I may say, how I may fumble, or whatever. And the ways I overcome it is I just block it out. You know what I mean? I don't really go through all these other junctions to figure it out. It's like, all right, just block it out. If you mess up, just keep rolling with it. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, like for example, right now, she got fucked up for a minute, but I kept rolling with it, you know, and I just go back. But how do you get people inspired to focus on like their fears and, you know, put in the effort for that? Because once again, those are like your taglines and the models and everything. So how do you tie those in?
I would say like, so of course it's case by case basis. As you know, like, you know, we can have 5 people in the room and we all deal with 5 different things, you know, and I can't say it's a universal approach for everybody, but I think the thing that I kind of pride myself on with that is like just building that connection too. You know what I mean? Like I gotta know you care about me in order for me to open up to you, in order for me to solve my problem. It's like, it's like, you know, it's like,
they're different today, but you know, my bad.
So it's like, so that's the first level of it. Because you're not just walking down the street telling anybody about your fears.
Right.
A lot of people see that as weakness.
You gotta have a little trust and stuff like that too.
So
you know, they say the best people to open up to sometimes, and somebody told me this back in like, you know, about 6 years ago, it's like opening up to strangers could get things off a little bit easier because there's no judgment coming from that stranger, depending on who you're talking to, obviously.
You know what I'm saying? And it's also case by case because, you know, you may not, most likely, you probably not even see that person ever again in life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. True.
So, but to get back to the youth part of it, it's like, once, this generation is different than any other two, I say it like that. Like, once they know you care about them, they'll run through. They'll go to all the, like, state to state to state just to make sure that you're good. You know, and so I think it's a little bit different than how we were. We were just, do it. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I respect you because you're older than me. Just do it. And it's like, these dudes are a little bit different. So I say all that to say, it's like, I talk to folks when we coach. It's like, you got to be a counselor first. You got to be big bro second. And then you got to be a coach. Right. Like, you got to, and a lot of people may see it differently because it's like, nah, you know, I know what I'm talking about. And you'll get buy-in to a certain point. But as you know, when that pressure start hitting, say championship game, semifinal game, last minute, when that pressure really hit, and I don't know you got my back, then that's when you get that people shutting down. Yo, you don't know what you're talking about. You think you're cool, but then when it really come down to it, you don't really got that.
Shit hits the fan, it's a little different. That's
so it's like, whereas like if they know you believe in them or vice versa, they're gonna go down with your decision and know like, all right, coach, you make a mistake because you allow. I'm okay with you making a mistake because you allow me to make a mistake. So that's just all, again, case by case, but those are the general things that I try to pride myself on.
So also with that, right, you know, because once again, this is all about the youth and everything too. And, you know, you work with a lot of the adolescents and, you know, inner city kids and everything. So how important is it? And I don't even know what's going on in the school systems right now because I'm not even around kids or have kids myself. So being that I know there was after school programs, there was all these outlets for kids growing up. Do you provide that space for kids while being a mentor and doing all these things with what you're running? Is that something that you bring to the table as well too? Like, or am I reaching on that?
No. It's a combination of things. Like, so I'll say this not to get up. I feel like I'm just now like stepping into my real purpose. Like I've been trying to figure it out for a little bit and like being able to create those spaces. Then, you know, being in my job, which of course we'll get into a little bit later, like being in my job and then me really figuring out what Inspire One is. You know, it's more than just like helping someone dunk and shoot better, like, you know, and so really figuring out what it is. Like now I'm getting into the spaces of like, okay, how can I create more opportunities to help more people? Granted, I'm one person, and also like, we all got a bandwidth, so just trying to balance that. But now I feel like I have the resources to like create more spaces to spread this message along and help empower people. So that's like where I'm trying to go with it now. Like, you know, finding like-minded folk, like building a team of folk that like are on the same page but doing their own thing. You know, got one of my homies' brands on right now, Raw Blue Dynasty, like you do.
Once again, go check out the brand. Once again, this is all about the spotlights here, you know. So we are live. We are in Boston.
Let me know how everything else sounds too. My fault to cut you off, but
yeah.
also just kind of figuring out the sounds as we go along too. But once again, Dynasty, that's a brand as well too. That's something in Boston. I know we got some viewers and subscribers here too that are from Lynn, Marlboro, from different areas of Massachusetts, which is why my man T is here as well, speaking about all these things because once again, we all want to band together here, so that's a start. So continue on.
No. I'm just saying, like,
we'll get better at that at some point.
You soon, like I said, we gotta get used to the commercial promos and stuff like that. We're gonna get those soon.
Hold on. We got a question for you too. This is the fun parts about lives. We got a question. So first of all, shout out everybody in the chat, man. Appreciate y'all sliding through to this live podcast, neighborhood spotlight thing. We're gonna get better as it rolls up, but once again, we do this live. So we got a question from BYN15. I have a dream, bruh. I want to make music and shit. Should I focus on it or continue with school, which I hate? We can both answer that, I guess, but this is for you though too.
So my answer, I'm gonna give you two answers. I don't know how old you are. So and that really doesn't matter to a certain extent. If you're a younger homie, I would say like what's it called? Like 21 and younger. Keep sticking with it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, keep building your brand and your passion. Like, because you got mad time to figure it out. And then you have mad time to meet people that can help you get in the right spaces. So I'll say if you're a younger dude, like, stick with it, but also try to find some mentors that can help kind of speed up what you're doing. If you're in, say, 21 and up, though, still stick with it because there are a lot of people that still panned out later in life. But also I would say you got to get a little bit more stability behind it. You can't just rely on the music. Like, still stick with it. Use it as like the thing that. So I say, okay, Inspire One. Like, even though I was doing this, I was always Inspire One. My job helped fuel that. You know what I mean? I just wasn't Inspire One training and doing stuff on my own and just like worried about Inspire One working out. You never want to put that much on your passion like that because then that's how it burns out. So I'll say if you're, again, 21 and up, per se, like, yeah, still stick with it, but just have some stability behind you so you can do both and still enjoy it. So, yeah, that's
a great answer to that. And I mean, I can piggyback off of that. And like, for me, I would say definitely still, focus on school as much as you hate it, but the school will get you through a lot more while you're in that phase of balancing things. So it's like you can have the same focus on school as you have in music because, once again, there is 24 hours in a day. And you can get a lot done in that 24 hours. Just about finding that balance. And to Reed's point, finding a mentor is definitely very important because I think that's something that I think people, younger and older, don't get pushed to do as much, which I think, like, you've been talking about mentors for a long time. So doing all of that is definitely important. But yeah, definitely keep the focus on school. Don't quit school. I don't know if you mean college or high school.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
I say this too. Like, a lot of people may not say this because, again, school and college is not for everybody. And I mean, all that said. And again, this is somebody that, like I said, I went through school. I didn't like school. I just went through school because that's what I was pushed to do.
You were told to do that. Yeah, so exactly. Be the worker bee.
Exactly. But I say this: school, college. I'm talking about college now, not just high school. College is more so about the connection than anything you learn. The connections that you make are far more valuable than some things that you're learning. So I would say, like, if you're kind of like between whether it's sticking with college and like you're on campus and doing that, like, stick with that because, like, one, get your degree because you never know, and then two, the people that you meet in that space are just different. It can help you get to where you need to go, and it may be music, maybe something around music. You never know. So, yeah.
Word, and they replied back, "Thanks a lot, Ari. Upload songs and shit, lyrics, original. I'm still like 16." Because I know I won't get through with school, and I hate seeing blood because I grew up in the hood.
Yeah,
just want to know.
But yeah, bro, definitely stick with high school. You gotta
facts. You gotta get through. You gotta get through that part first. Yeah. I know, and that'd be the hardest part to do, especially when you're young, because we get to that point in our lives too, where we be like 16, like 18, and we think we know it all. You know what I'm saying? We think we got all the answers, but it's best to go through what you're going through, and then have the proper guidelines to just figure it out. As we go along. Appreciate that, BY. Appreciate that, B. But yeah, now I want to ask you as well too. Well, before I get into that, if you're in here lurking and smirking, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, you know what I'm saying? Shoot a little like.
As well, I wanted to ask you, what's more important between focus and effort? Like, what would you put first between the two?
Mm. Focus. Focus.
Okay.
Because you kind of like what you were just saying about like when you mess up and you keep kind of pushing through like when you build momentum with your focus, the effort will follow suit. Like a lot of people think in like you kind of wake. A lot of people just like that have done great things. Like you wake up with motivation and just like there's just motivated people, ambitious people that are like that all day.
There's
like,
trenches involved.
Yeah, like
shit.
nah, like sometimes you really don't want to do what you're passionate about. I just don't feel like it. But when you just focus on something to help build that momentum, the effort comes.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts.
So yeah, I would definitely say focus. And also there's mad distraction on here, but again, something else that's not for this podcast.
Word. I mean, it may come up because once again, these are just convos with beats on the couch, dog. So we just be having conversations about a whole bunch of things. That's the point with that. It's like we start these conversations, they can segue into something else.
Yep.
But the main focus is like what I tried to do, and with starting this is having the conversations with people who are around the city, in the city, doing great things for the city, whether it's sports, whether it's music, whether it's something for the youth. But regardless of what it is, when you're just trying to do something that's like your self-promotion, I try to push that on here because my channel, I feel like it's self-promotion. You know what I'm saying? It gets all, like, I like to put like, it's all me, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm going to push to do this. I'm going to motivate myself to get my channel out there. I'm going to motivate to, get out there and reach out and network with people and have these conversations, whether it's hip-hop, whether it's life conversations, whether it's shit like that. And once again, this is a new space because this is my first time doing this. This is the very first episode. You know what I'm saying? So doing all this just opened up different avenues. And like you said, it's the focus of doing that and like putting in the effort. Because once again, like we were here about almost a year ago today where shit was fucked up. Almost a year ago. You know what I mean? When we were reacting to Eminem's, murder, music to be murdered by shit or whatever it was. You know what I'm saying? The death of some shady shit. And it's like, I was struggling with that, but I had to focus down. Get a little motivated, be inspired, what I'm saying, just to kind of just be better and do better. And just also, once again, we were talking a lot behind the scenes while I was going through this process too. So going back to his motto as well too, which like he says is inspire one. He was inspiring me to just do better about certain things and just get my logos up and all this other stuff. And once again, he's a man that reps the brands of his homies too. And like that's something that I always push as well too, is like just support your homies in any sort of way. And he's doing that by wearing something like support is free. You know what I'm saying? Promotion is free. And a lot of people don't understand that because I think a lot of people think they're supposed to get something out of it. You know what I mean? And if they're not getting something out of it, they don't see any reason of doing that, which I think is always the wrong way to do that. So,
No, and again, not to go, like, main reason that, like, you do that, because you can't do it on your own. Like, you can, but it's like you're not going to be able to get as far. You're going to burn yourself out potentially. And also, everyone has strengths and weaknesses. Right. So, again, I mentioned the homie Rob Blue and then Dynasty is because, like, he has a similar vision as me, but he's just doing it in a different way. But we come together every year to do our after our invitational all-star tournament.
Yep.
We're doing something a little bit different this time around. Again, I won't ruin the surprise. There's some promotion around that, but still, like coming together to like give a spotlight to the youth, in a different way, or just the way that we used to, get the same vibes that we used to feel. So yeah, Dynasty for sure.
That's dope. And I mean, those of you that are familiar, like we were kids that grew up in Boston, grew up in the inner city and everything. And, once again, for the most part, I think to my understanding, you're connected with sports and basketball too, right?
Yes.
And it's like mentorship through sports, through coaching, through trainings, through practices, through AAU tournaments, through circuits like that. So with that being said, we grew up in an area where we grew up with the BNBL and all these circuits like, AAU and, the beginnings of that, which I don't even think BNBL exists anymore. And no books, no ball. So I think my question is to you is like, did no books, no ball kind of give you this idea to get into this pocket a little bit? Because I know that you were the no books, no ball babies. Like you and Jared, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know that y'all was like, a product of that environment, which is great. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that to be funny at all.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I just know that these are programs that, once again, I see a couple of the homies from Boston kind of doing all these things. And some stick with no books, no ball, but I see that y'all kind of went and did your own thing, so to say. Started to create your own thing. So
I wouldn't again, I rock with no books to ball heavy.
Mhm.
A lot of basically, honestly, every kid that I work with now that I have a strong bond with came from no books, no ball.
Okay,
And again, a lot of
okay.
people don't know that. Like,
That's
yeah,
dope.
every kid that I train now, I have a good relationship with now. For the most part, I coached on my team.
Okay.
So like, yeah, so that's can always be grateful for them for that. But I can't say like I'll be real with you, bro. So like ever since I was a kid, I've always kind of visualized like being a trainer, a developer of people.
We
of some
always talk
sort.
about that too.
Yeah,
Facts,
I just
facts.
didn't know because think about when we were younger, like trainers weren't getting paid like that. Like you would see them, of course, rebounding and passing before the game and stuff like that. But they didn't have a lane like they did now.
Yeah.
So the thought was always in my mind, and so it's funny because I always thought of myself as, oh, like maybe coaching is my thing. Mm-hmm. So I got involved in No Books No Ball because one, I wanted to get back to the program that helped build me, and then I was like, okay, this is a chance for me to kind of test out this coaching thing. And then through that, like, I was very grateful because I just met parents that trusted me with their kids. Like, and that I'll always be indebted to them for that because they gave me a chance,
Word.
to like help hone my skills,
Mhm.
my craft, and doing quick shout outs. I may miss some people, started with Izzy and Julian, then Aiden, who's doing really dope things right now. Jalen Coleman, who's doing amazing things right now. Again, I'm missing a few people because all of them I remember. But again, there's certain people that just stuck with me.
Right.
That just like grateful that their parents and they trusted me to help build their craft. Adrian, yeah, like it's like
the list is long. The list is long.
Like,
Word.
Yeah, so many of these homies. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's what I like to hear, man. Once again, doing good things for the youth. Because like I said, this is about the youth. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It's always about the youth because like what's the shit that we always say? It's like they're our future. Yeah, and it's a real thing. Like we get to that stage in our life, man, where we see that now on the other end versus we were that future at that point in time when we were that age, and like we didn't take things serious, but we didn't see how we were shaping things in our future as things were going on. So I always find that fire to watch people like you know what I'm saying, go back, like, the Corey Lowe's, the Ant Gurley's, like, what I'm saying, all those people that we played ball with, go back and give back in that way to the community. Because once again, there's something special and unique in a connection that you have when you're like an adolescent going through like the journey of being an athlete, playing basketball. Like you have a different connection. It's like you build a bond. It's like not like some it's a father figure, but a lot it's like a big brother. It's a big brother thing. Like for me, it was like having that big brother like figure and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And like that's how I think when y'all came like under me, it's kind of like how like I was kind of like looking at that as like I had to lead by example because it was one of those. Like,
let's talk about that, man. Let's go. You want to throw the picture in the thumbnail? We gotta go back. Gotta go back to them times. No, I'm joking, but I want to go back to really like validate what you're saying. Like you were big bro. Like we were at a high school that was. Like you said, there wasn't people like us everywhere.
Right.
We were thrown out. We just
say it again. There was only a handful of us.
Yeah, there's only a handful. Like in our MECO program, when I found out, our MECO program was way more people in it than a lot of other people. A lot of people threw it. They just had like 4 or 5 people in the MECO program. So I feel like we had to make. We were I think we didn't. Even though folks went through stuff, and I'm not saying like I don't think we went through as much stuff in our school as other people because we had the numbers.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I think the relationships I feel like were different too. I feel like when those things that we did hear about, I'm like, yeah, that didn't happen as much over here. Like I don't know what it was. Maybe it's because it was too close to the city. Because Newton is pretty close to the city, where it's like though you may not see them in your neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? You seeing us around, you know what I'm saying?
It's only 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, you still gonna see us around and shit. So like, when you get to the Sudburys and further out, you less likely to see us around like that. So it's moved a little bit differently. Yeah. So yeah, I get that.
Yeah, but I just want to say that like, again, to give, I'm at the point where I just give people the flowers while they still. So yeah, we were on a basketball team where you were the veteran player. We're not gonna talk about how that played out. But I genuinely feel, knowing playing with you off the team, your role should have been greater. But that you showed us how to deal with that. You know what I mean? Like, and then you were 17, 16. You didn't know what you were doing.
I was an old senior.
But you didn't know what you were doing, but you were showing us how to navigate the nonsense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, don't let it affect your play.
Yeah.
Cause I kind of remember certain conversations. I'm like, hey, man, like, y'all are still young. Like, y'all still got stuff to do. Like, I know, like, the bullshit that you may see, like, it's going to happen to y'all, but, like, you just have to push through that and just continue to, stay focused and put in the effort because it's going to play out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And again, that was dope. Again, and it's just like bigger picture because it's like without that mentorship, again, everybody's story would have played out a certain way, but we all hung in there because it's like, damn, I don't feel like I'm going to practice today. But Rob, let's go, Rob, like, it wasn't like you were always checking us to be at practice,
right?
But it's like we wanted to show up for you at time. Well, I'll just speak for me. We wanted to show up for you because, like, dang, we don't show up. Rob by himself. Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? And Rob actually shows that he appreciates having us on the team. It ain't about it, Metco kids or nothing. It's like, nah, I'm happy to have somebody I can relate with on this team because I've been going through it.
Ready to build a village, you know what I'm saying? Ready to build something. I'm like, we got some talent, dog.
Word. So yeah, but just want to say, like, that was very important back then.
Word.
Yeah, who knows how things would have played out if we didn't have that mentor on the team to kind of like.
Then somebody steer you.
Different and shit. And like you said, like because it's not the Dragon, because you were that for us, it made us be that for Alex. It made us be that for Willie. Alan. It's like all the dudes that like behind.
It's a trickle down effect.
Yeah, like we were like the leaders for them because it's like, you showed us how to be that. So yeah, I just
appreciate that. Appreciate that. And that's a trickle effect, a full circle moment to show what you're doing almost 20 years from now. Like it shows that what you do can inspire or have somebody regain their focus or have somebody else put their effort into like what they're doing or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Because they've dealt with somebody like yourself who knows, and obviously there's other people in your life that will steer you in that right direction and play a hand in it. But like, if you don't have those things that line up, who knows what the trajectory it is of like how you may treat certain people or how you may handle certain situations, certain adversity. You know what I'm saying? Because in life, I think, life hands you adversity and how you handle it is like kind of foreshadows like what you do later on. You know what I mean? So I think it's always best to learn early. You know what I mean? It's always best to learn early, and then you take those same learnings and teachings and you apply them later on in life. You don't even see them play out like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Until you like get to
I'll
that
be real
point.
with you. Like, if you would have told me, like you said, 20 years ago, I'd be saying that to you. I'd be like, nah, but you don't. It's like you're not really seeing what's going on. You're trying to live like things are happening all around you.
100%.
But when you really reflect on it, it's like, dang, that's real talk.
So I guess like to piggyback off of that, because clearly I'm not like the best interviewer, but we're trying out here. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, we turning this into a conversation and shit. And that's the best way to do it. I think is more of like a best conversation. But like, where do you see like, because you and Jared work together, right?
Yeah. So I do, of course, the training. Like I said, mindfulness. So all the like say the physical things. Jared handles all the business stuff. So like connecting with colleges,
the network man.
Yeah.
Word. Yeah. So where do you guys see? Because everybody has like a 5-year, 10-year plan. So like, where do you put this in like 10 years, 5 to 10 years? Where do you guys see yourself elevating the program in the next 5, 10 years?
Yeah. So. The dope part about, two things I said. The dope part about the space that I'm in now, like when I first started doing this, anybody who just wanted to get better at basketball is working with me. Like, and again, not to sound like that, but now I'm at a point where I can be very selective about who I'm putting my time into. Cause that's really what you're putting time into, especially when you're working.
And you're putting it's like an
Yeah,
investment.
it's an investment, especially when you work with people say from like 9. I started at 13 now. I don't do my past.
So y'all hear that? Not enough.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
It's real spooky. Like you spend your whole workouts.
Anybody interested? 9 and up. But what's your Instagram?
13 and up. And what's it called? at inspire1.culture.
All right, y'all hear that? At Inspire One Culture. If you're ever interested, anybody that's in Boston local, if you're interested in putting your kid in this program, there you have it. We're gonna put that when I repost it again too, because this is live, but I repost it.
Because it gets real spooky, bro. I'll be real with you. You spend hours just like teaching crossovers. An hour spending teaching just a crossover between the legs. It's when you really reflect on it, it's like it's
like,
not worth it.
Go develop on your own.
Yeah, like and they come back to you when you're good. Like no offense, like because it's just so we can utilize both of our time.
That's real. That's real shit. That is real.
So, but regardless of that, where I want this to go is being, like I said it earlier, like being a developer of people. Like again, I could say skill developer, but the thing that I constantly write down and I'm journaling from time to time is like I want to be the best developer of people. You know, so and people coming to me for that be an advisor, guidance, like counselor, like it's a one-stop shop here. You want to get better at dribbling? Okay, just that, cool, I got you. You want to get stronger and faster? Okay, cool, I got you. You got all the skills in the world, but you don't know how to use it because you're in your head. Okay, I got you. Or you want, one-stop shop of all those things. So that's the goal, to be that for a select group of people, because it is important. I joke around about being selective, but you got to be real. If you have the choice to, everything has to line up. I got to make sure I connect with you because I may not be. I'm a calm person. That may not be for you. You may need the yelling and screaming. It's like
go fucking up the line again.
You may need that. Some people do, and again, I can bring it there, but that's not more of my natural state.
Right.
So it's like or personality wise, we may not click. Then there's another level to it. Your parents may be the problem. It's like,
which is a lot of cases of athletes and shit. Yes, it'd be the parents.
So it's like I gotta. So if I have a choice, everything gotta line up. So making sure everything lines up there, and then being the advisor for some of the top talent in Boston, and also saying that to say that we can all coexist in this world. A lot of people think in this scarcity type of like everyone got to fight for the same talented kids. Like, nah. Again, I just want to compliment what other people are doing, and then on the business side, be able to help them get more opportunities. Say to NIL is becoming a thing. That's why I was saying this is the second. Like NIL is a thing. People don't know how to navigate it. There really are no rules right now. So, taking advantage of that. And really helping people navigate the business side of the world, because one thing I'll leave off on is that the world, the state of where things are right now, especially in the basketball world, is so much nastier than when we were growing up. It's crazy. There's so many more. Probably not. I don't know. So many. I'll say probably so many more people with agendas and issues out here that just so like either trying to live through the kids.
Between the parents.
Yeah, right? Between the parents, but between some of these people who are like advisors. You know what I mean? Like, but this got their own agenda, getting paid off, like stuff like too much for this podcast. So and
it's funny because I was going to ask you, like, what do you think the state is of youth basketball from a developmental standpoint, from a mental toughness standpoint, from just a standpoint of just like are the parents too involved now, or kind of going off what you're saying still? Are the parents too invested where they want to see a bag out of it because they see all these expensive contracts that go on with the pro athletes? So do you think there's more motivation to kind of like get rich quick schemes now with the youth now when it comes to these athletes and like developing? Do you sense that more versus like a real love for the game? Because like it obviously comes from like the best way I can put it is like he got game, right?
Yeah.
And obviously that ended up being fucking Jesus Shuttlesworth and stuff, and he was the greatest player like out of the movie and stuff he developed. But watching his character early in the movie when he was like pouting and like he didn't really want to do it, and that wasn't what he wanted to do. Do you see that developing with the youth now?
Because we're talking, like regardless of what you're talking about, money changes people. Like, it's like right. So when you're giving a potentially 15-year-old kid close to $500,000 in some cases, that's going to determine how I'm moving in school. Like, that's going to determine, again, no offense to the homie to ask the question, but if he got a contract right now, the heck with school. Right. I don't even really want to do it.
Figure out the right slavery.
So that's a fact. It's determining where I go. So that plays a huge part in it. And also there's a part that people don't talk about as much. When I'm a 15, 16-year-old kid, and I'm getting paid more than mom and dad. I'm gonna repeat that. When I'm a 15,
I'm not
16-year-old
listening to
kid,
you. They
and
know
I'm
you can
getting
tell
paid
me.
more than you on a yearly basis, who are you? I'm bringing the money in. Some
I'm
of
the
these
breadwinner out
yeah,
here.
like
You can't tell me, as long as you paying the bills in this house, you can't be coming in late and shit. I'm paying the bills now.
It's like, and then some
I'm the
parents,
captain of this shit
their
now.
parents
Like,
that have
yeah.
issues, which they should. Like, who are you?
No,
like, I have
facts.
issue. But it's like, you know what I mean? But there's parents that have issues with that. Like,
But remember the parents say it so you can, remember what the parents used to say to us because we didn't get this money like that. So it's like, until you can get the money to pay these bills and shit.
But they
This
do.
is my house. That's what I'm saying. Now they do now.
They paying the mortgage. Something like, and I ain't everyone's crib, but they paying the mortgage because mom and dad, needed you to pay it out in ball, and you just panned out sooner than they thought.
Right.
So that changes stuff up. That changes stuff up a lot, and so that's why it's important. Again, guidance, bro. Like that's why it's important that you get somebody in your life that can guide you. Like again, I'm serious. I ain't still even talking about myself. Just find somebody that can guide you and help you and your parents navigate it because it gets spooky very quick.
Right.
And at least you have a sound, unbiased voice to say that doesn't make sense. Yeah, but it's $500,000. I know, but they're about to have you in a chicken outfit.
Right.
It's like
selling out.
Yeah, it's like even though again, if it's like that's case by case. But just get somebody that is knowledgeable and that can guide you. That's the easiest thing I can say because it gets spooky and some parents really need that. Like even you may be very capable, you just need another voice that is in it for you and not all these other things that come through whatever door, So yeah.
No, word. Shit, man, that goes into, my next part of like my burning questions here, because obviously this goes back to like we're dealing with the youth and we're talking about working in the inner city and just dealing with kids that way. And I know, once again, in the inner city, not everybody's squeaky clean, and not everybody's on the straight path. Some are on that narrow path. Now, are you dealing with? And I can assume that's why you have the Inspire one as well too, because once again, the streets can get to you. And what's crazy is that the streets also we having the best athletes sometimes when it comes to shit. Like you see that some of the best athletes really be in the streets sometimes because there's no guidance and shit. Now you coming across a lot of that as well, or some of that where I don't know where I'm trying to go with this.
No, I know what you're trying. I just didn't want to cut you up.
Good.
Like so, I'll say it like this, and again, I can't speak for every hood, and I can't speak for every gym. I feel like there's more of a separation now in some instances, even though again, I'm gonna clarify what I mean. Like, I feel like the homies that are in the life, they don't even like, nah, I ain't with that ball thing. I'm gonna be out here scamming. Like, I'm gonna shoot around during pickup, but I ain't really gonna try to make this ball thing work as much. Even though that's one group. Then there's another group where it's like they're not in the life, but they're surrounded by the life.
Right.
Those are the ones that, to your point, that like, nah, yeah, I try my best to help them because I know it's probably could be one bad day, one bad practice where you just get caught up, and then as we know, that's all it takes. Like, you know what I'm saying?
To get you off the path or whatever. Because once again, there'd be a lot of talented kids that get involved in like the wrong shit.
Yeah. Because they just want to be a part of something, bro. And I'm not trying to justify it, but I got, again, going back to what we were talking about, like the grateful thing about our lives is like I was able to interact with everybody, good and bad, like and again, even the bad, they weren't bad. They just wanted to be involved in something, wanted to be like cared about. And unfortunately, the people that cared about them weren't doing the best things, So it's up to me. Again, I can't say everybody. That's also been something I'm trying to learn too. But whoever is willing to be in my space, like, more people care about you than people not being able to help you. Like, I care. You just got to show up. I got to force you to come to the gym.
Right.
I can't get you out of bed. Like, it's like, but if you wake up and you show up here, bro, I'm gonna try to make it the best 2 hours. You're going to get the most of this 2 hours.
Facts.
You know what I mean? So that's what I try to do. But those obstacles are out there. They're now more than never. Last thing I'll say to that is because homies got these phones and these devices just at will. And they're like, And I say that to say I'm not even trying to sound old when I'm saying it, but they get so many missed messages, more missed messages than we did.
Right. Yeah, because too much access to the bullshit.
Too much access to the bullshit. You're seeing, you're comparing yourself to people. Well, think about it. Not the we're playing ball at New and South High School. Right. We would hear what's going on in DCL. We would hear about what's going on, say in the city.
But I didn't see it.
I
never seen it. There was never like, oh shit,
you could just be practicing. And you're like, damn, homies in Cali are making $500,000. I'm better than him. I should be doing that. Right. Like, yo, I don't even want to do this no more because, like.
But which makes it even worse because now it kind of goes into, like, I feel like kids play into. Now, once again, we always came up on the highlight circuit and the mixtape circuit and shit like that. But the social media clickbait part of the mixtape circuit has gotten kids not to focus on the game. And I feel like, is that something that you find challenging dealing with, training the youth and putting them on that? Because once again, that's lacking of focus if they're more focused on a highlight versus 7 lowlights, but they want to get their little IG reels or like their Insta reels popping with like the mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? Now, how do you get kids to focus on the actual portion of the game versus focusing on what I like to say with my boys in the chat is the glitz and the glamour shit? You know what I mean?
I'll be real with you, bro. Like, it's tough because you're fighting a battle. Like, if they're only with you for an hour, they go back home and then they be like, so what I try to, it's like all about your values, though. I say like getting them to,
which is so important.
That, yeah, you know what I mean. Getting them to like very understand your values. Like, is your values? I say like, and I say this too. Like, I guess this may sum this up. I don't care how hard you work. There's always going to be someone out there that's faster. I don't care how hard you try to work in your hops. There's always going to be someone out there that jumps high.
There's always going to be somebody that's better.
Always. There's people that are not in the NBA that are better than some of the people that we're watching on TV right now. So like,
there's better rappers out there that ain't mainstream that's better than the rappers that's mainstream. That's
so if you spend so much time comparing yourself to all this, you're never going to get nowhere. So it's like, yo, just like. So again, it sounds very generic from Disney Channel, but just like focus on focus on just being better than you.
Right.
That's the only thing you really can control. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I get them to try to lock into that. And then, like, I do the thing where it's like, we do a drill and say we do it 2 weeks from now. Or we do a workout. Yo, is that getting easier? I know it is, but I ask because, like, yo, yeah, this feeling lighter. Like,
push you a little bit more.
See that? Right. You see that? You see how you're making progress? Like, just acknowledging your own progress and helping them acknowledge their progress, because we live in a space where things are moving mad fast. So it's like, if you don't just stop and acknowledge, like you don't stop and acknowledge your progress, you feel like you're not making any at all. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, nah, bro. Like,
take a step back.
Yeah, nah, like you said a year ago, it wasn't set up like this. It's like, dang, bro, you doing your thing. But if you compared yourself to ex-influencer that's been doing it, you're always going to feel like,
I'm going to be like, oh, ain't nothing happening. Yeah, you just got, it's always about the do you mentality and going back to focus. Like, you just got to put your head down and focus on what you got to do in the task at hand. And I think that that's always dope that, once again, you have the focus, effort, and inspire one as like your tag. Because those are all pop-out words for anybody out there that needs that. You know what I'm saying? And because, once again, those things don't just apply to sports. Those things apply to life. Those things apply to, if you're an inspiring artist, like VN that just popped in the chat asking the same thing. Like, that applies to everything. And once again, that's why I'm kind of glad I did this live, you know what I'm saying? Because, like, it gets things going again, and once again, I like just having, excuse me, that burp was crazy. But that's why I like having just, like, certain conversations and open up a dialogue for, people to share things like that. Because, once again, to inspire one, that's one right there. You know what I'm saying? That's literally one right there. That is a prime example of what the whole thing is. So, once again, first episode of the pod. I'm loving that. You know what I'm saying? I fucks with that hard, man. Is there anything else that, that I missed maybe about what you're doing or anything that you would like to add? Not before we conclude, obviously, because there's a lot more, because, we segueing into, like, the basketball talks and everything as well, too. But is there anything that you would like to leave off with, with the people that's watching, that when I redo this, put it out there again, like, is there anything that you want to leave people with?
And again, this is probably general, but all right, I'm gonna keep it real, and I already did. You can't wait for someone to save you. You gotta save yourself. Like, if you keep waiting even though I did tell him to go get a mentor, like, you keep waiting for that mentor to save you, it's not gonna
It's not
work.
gonna happen. You
out.
gotta
Yeah,
find it. Yep.
you know, yeah, you gotta do it yourself. Like nobody's coming to save y'all. Like, and again, I'm not saying that in a dark way. I'm honestly saying that in a power way.
It's more
Yeah,
like,
like-
yeah, because
yeah,
you
like-
just pick yourself up off the ground.
Yeah, like
you know, get
because
yourself up out of there.
1,000%. Because when you end up making that thing happen, it means more than it being handed to you. One,
Mm-hmm.
two, it's just like you. I think I spent way too much time like waiting for certain things to pan out. When it's like, yo, you have all the gifts already to make whatever pans out for you. And it's like, and I'm sitting here to say like, yeah, if you out here trying to be an ice skater and you ain't coordinated like that, potentially probably ain't your thing. But you could work on your body, like, you know what I'm saying? If that's truly what you feel like you're passionate. So I just, even though again that analogy, if you are truly, to me, if you're passionate about something, and you things are gonna start lining up for you to make it happen. But don't wait on somebody to line those things up for you. I guess that's the round way of saying what I'm about to say.
Well, there you have it. There you have it, man. Don't wait for somebody to save you. Get out there and get to it. Get after it. That is what we got right there, man. I mean, once again, I appreciate you, sharing light on the Inspired One Focus and Effort. What would you call it? Movement, program,
culture. I think that's
culture.
Culture.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's a culture.
Yeah.
Yep, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like all those things have a place with something, and I never really know how to place certain things. I have to be told. I got to be taught. You know what I'm saying? So that's where that is. You know what I'm saying? It's a culture. It's a movement. It's a motto. And I think that's just really what it boils down to. And like once again, if you have children out there, if you are inspired by this, if you want to, connect with my man Tariq, man, I will have all his handles in the descriptions. You know what I mean? All the links and stuff connected to his movement in the descriptions as well too. So, that's what we got right there. But we're not done. We're not done with that. That was just part one. That was segment one. This is like a 5-part episode right now. But no, as